Have you ever stood trembling at the edge of a truth so devastating it threatens to unravel the very fabric of your existence, yet found the strength to hold on for the sake of a child whose innocent love has become your lifeline? That's where Anna stood, her heart a storm of rage, betrayal, and unwavering devotion, staring into the eyes of Aridia, a woman claiming to be her sister, whose betrayal had not only shattered Rudra Malhotra's belief in love but left his son to grow up without a mother's warmth. A wound Anna knew all too well, her own childhood a tapestry of loneliness woven by an uncle who'd sold her to a brothel to settle his debts, only for Rudra to rescue her, caging her in his world of cold suspicion. The day Rudra met Anna, his life had spiraled. Drunk and vulnerable, he'd poured out his soul to her, confessing how Aradia's treachery had turned him into a man who saw love as a cruel illusion, his heart hardened into a fortress of ice. Yet, as he watched Anna navigate the wreckage of her own past, her quiet resilience and selfless love for her stirred a guilt he couldn't ignore, forcing him to see her not as Aradia's shadow, but as a woman of extraordinary strength. Anna's life had been a relentless gauntlet of pain, raised as a burden in her uncle's home, where her aunt and cousin Rui treated her like a servant, her days filled with endless chores, her nights haunted by tears and nightmares of a parent's accident she believed was fate, her only solace the fleeting comfort of her uncle's occasional kindness, which paled against his wife's disdain. The revelation that her parents' death was no accident, but a murder orchestrated by her uncle, a man consumed by jealousy over her mother's love for his twin brother, their father, shattered her world, the betrayal cutting deeper than the physical scars of her past, each truth a dagger twisting in her chest. She'd endured 2 weeks in a brothel, her dignity preserved only by a miracle, her nights spent praying for escape, until Rudra's rescue, which traded one cage for another, his harsh words and accusations branding her with a mark on her neck from a night of rage she couldn't fully recall, a wound that lingered as a reminder of his cruelty. Yet, Anna's heart, battered but unbroken, found refuge in Arav, the boy whose toffee sticky fingers and infectious giggles wrapped her in a bond she couldn't resist. When Rudra struggled for half an hour to get Arav to take his medicine, pleading and bribing to no avail, Anna succeeded with a piece of chocolate and a gentle tone, her instinctive care piercing Rudra's guarded heart, convincing him no one else could be trusted to carry his child. The surrogacy proposal wasn't born of affection but necessity. Rudra, scarred by Aradia's cruelty, had seen her hit Arav with a ball without remorse, shattering his trust in her as a potential surrogate. Anna, with her selfless devotion to Arav, became his only choice, not because she resembled Aridia, but because she'd risked her life twice to protect his son, a bond sealed in moments like their backyard cricket game, where Arav, distracted by candy, declared Anna the winner, his trust in her a beacon in Rudra's darkened world. At Aradia's house, the confrontation tore Anna's reality apart like a storm. Aridia revealed their parents' death was a calculated act by their uncle, who'd loved their mother and couldn't bear her choosing his twin, a jealousy that festered into murder, splitting the sisters apart, with Anna raised by a monster and Aridia sent to their grandmother's care, only to be abandoned to an orphanage after her death. Anna's voice trembled with fury as she faced Aridia, not just for the sisterly betrayal, but for the pain inflicted on Rudra and Arav. "You turned a man into a monster, and now I bear your punishment because I look like you," she cried, tears streaming as she renounced Aridia, declaring, "We share blood, but nothing else. I'd rather be alone than call you sister." The words echoed like a verdict, her heart breaking for Arav, abandoned by a mother who knew the pain of growing up without parents yet chose money over love, leaving Rudra to harden and Anna to suffer the fallout of their shared resemblance. Aradia's voice cracked as she recounted their past, how their uncle's jealousy had poisoned their family, how he'd used Anna's inheritance for his own gain, how she'd seen Anna laughing in a park and chose not to disrupt her perceived happiness, a decision born of love but steeped in cowardice. Anna's bitter laugh cut through the air. Happy life? I lived like a maid, a burden, sold like furniture to a brothel. Where was my happiness? Her words silenced the room, Rudra's jaw tightening as he realized the depth of her suffering. A life of loneliness where she dreamed of a love that could heal her scars, only to find herself caged by his own cruelty. Fleeing to the mansion, Anna collapsed behind her locked door, sobbing until Rudra slipped in through a connecting passage, his usual coldness replaced by a tenderness that cracked her open. She clung to him, her tears soaking his shirt, and he held her, guilt burning for misjudging her, for seeing her as Aradia's echo when she was a light all her own, her pain a mirror to his own yet softened by a kindness he'd long buried. He carried her to bed, tucking her in with a care that lingered in her restless dreams, the mark on her neck a reminder of his past violence, yet his gentle touch now stirred a warmth she couldn't trust, a flicker of something dangerous that threatened to blur the line between hate and longing. In his room, their eyes met over the sleeping boy, his small chest rising and falling, his innocence a balm to Anna's wounded soul. She resolved to carry Rudra's child as a rose. Massey, a mother-like figure, not for Rudra, but for the boy who'd sensed their bond before she knew he was her nephew, his trust a lifeline she couldn't betray. The surrogacy process moved swiftly. Aradia's eggs retrieved, fertilized, and transferred to Anna, the positive pregnancy test drawing a rare smile from Rudra, though Anna's heart remained heavy with the weight of her choice, knowing she'd have no claim to the child yet unable to let her suffer, her love for him a quiet vow to give him a second life. On the drive home, a detour sparked memories of her friends Shania and Vishaka, the only family she'd known in years. Summoning courage, she asked Rudra to visit them, her voice trembling with the need for connection, and he relented, warning her to protect the 4 lives she carried, Arav's, the unborn child's, hers, and his own fragile hope, a warning that carried a weight she felt in her bones. At their cozy home, Anna poured out her story, the brothel's terror, Rudra's rescue, Aradia's betrayal. Finding solace in their embrace, their laughter and tears a reminder of a love untainted by betrayal, though her heart wrestled with conflicting feelings for Rudra, whose touch stirred her body despite the pain he'd caused, the mark on her collarbone a scar she couldn't ignore. Shania's blunt teasing about Rudra's attractiveness made Anna flush, her body betraying her with a warmth she hated, her mind flashing to the night he'd accused her of infidelity, the night she tried to end her life, a darkness her friends vowed she'd never revisit. Holi arrived, a festival Anna cherished for its vibrant colors and the triumph of good over evil, its energy mirroring the chaos of her emotions. The garden buzzed with laughter, music, and the sweet scent of Gujia, as Arav, in his white kurta, tugged her into the celebration, his joy infectious despite Rudra's watchful gaze, his eyes holding a possessiveness that both thrilled and unnerved her. Rudra pulled her to a quiet corner, pressing her against a wall, his hands and lips painting her with holy colors. Kisses on her cheeks, forehead, and neck, each touch igniting a fire she fought to suppress, her body tingling as colors blended their hues until they were one vibrant canvas, the powder clinging to her skin like a claim she couldn't escape. "Happy Holi, Anna," he whispered, his voice soft with a fondness that shook her, the shortened name rolling off his tongue with a tenderness that felt like a promise. Yet her heart recoiled, remembering the mark on her neck, the names he'd called her, the cage he'd built around her. Arav's interruption broke the spell, his pout accusing them of playing without him, his small hand tugging her back to the garden, where Tani's teasing and Akshat's unsettling intensity added layers of tension to the festive chaos. When color stung Anna's eyes, Rudra carried her to a bathroom, gently washing her face, his fingers tracing her cheeks with a care that contrasted the man who'd once marked her in anger, as she bolted from his teasing offer to start again. His laughter echoed, a sound that hinted at a connection neither could fully admit, a spark that threatened to ignite something neither was ready to name. Anna's heart, scarred by betrayal and loss, stood firm in its love for Arav, her refusal to forgive Aradhya a testament to her moral compass. But with Rudra, the line between hate and something deeper blurred, his touch a dangerous promise of salvation she wasn't ready to trust. The festival's colors clung to her skin, a vibrant reminder of the life growing inside her, the bond with Arav that anchored her, and the unresolved tension with Rudra, whose own brokenness mirrored hers yet held a flicker of hope she couldn't ignore. As she stood in the garden, Arav's hand in hers, the laughter of children, and the scent of spring flowers swirling around her, Anna felt the weight of her past and the strength of her choices, knowing she'd carried this child not just for Arav, but to reclaim the love her life had denied her, a love she'd give freely, even if it meant walking away from Rudra's world forever. Her resolve hardened as she thought of her uncle's betrayal, the man who'd murdered her parents and sold her like a commodity. She vowed to bring him to justice, not for herself but for the family she'd lost, the sister she couldn't claim, and the boy who'd become her reason to keep fighting. Each moment with Arav, his giggles, his trust, his small hand in hers, reinforced her purpose, a quiet strength born from years of surviving alone, a strength that Rudra, with his own scars, was only beginning to see. As the holy colors faded from her skin, Anna carried their vibrancy in her heart, a symbol of her resilience, her love, and the uncertain future she faced with a courage she hadn't known she possessed.